Hey there, Workforce. Chris here.
Brian here.
And today it's time for another episode of Community Feedback, this time on the state of PvP.
So let's see what you had to say about it, and let's talk about you. So our first comment comes from Galatian Harpel stating, I don't know if they could do it, but I'd love it if Square Enix could make it to where I could queue as my level 70 white mage and then get experience points on a different job. If I could designate one other job to receive the experience points, I'd love PvPing with my white mage, but I feel like I'm missing out on experience points by playing a level 70 job. And I relate to this comment 100%.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know your thoughts first.
I think that's the problem with adding experience to anything, is the moment if they said you could only do one roulette a day, and it was either leveling or level 70, it would really put everybody in a predicament where it's like, I want both. So I think this would be really cool, and honestly, because of the community's engagement with PvP, I think it calls for more incentives, and this would be a great one. And it could work just like scripts and everything do with gathering and crafting.
Would I guess the question then, both to everybody here and then even to you, is that why not just then make it non-PvP exclusive? Why not give us the ability to store up that experience points and then apply it to anything we feel like? So that way, just because I'm in that same position, why don't I want a tank? I have all my tanks at level 70. I'm going to use anything for experience on another job. So outside, like roulettes are a great example. PvP is the real focus of this conversation, but why not then just allow that experience to pool, and then you can use it any way you want?
What I don't want is people just getting a certificate of here's your free level 70.
Yeah.
So what I think it could work like is the engineering manuals out of your brand company, where it's just a bonus experience for an hour and it's capped at a certain quantity, or it could be a certain percentage of level or something like that. And so it would be like a every time you do a adventure in need as a tank, you either get bonus experience, or if you're a level 70 tank, you get one of these scripts. When you equip the script, it's good for a certain amount of experience based on the level to the character you equip it on, and you have X amount of time to complete that before it just falls off. Right,
and so that way forcing you, like let's say you go do a roulette or a dungeon, and instead of being at 100% or 150%, all of a sudden you might be at 200 or 250% up to a certain cap. Thus, you're still using that experience on another job, but you're actually getting experience. It's an interesting way, and I think I've actually had that
to the tank bonus, equivalent to something, just a slight little thank you, because when you pair that with the earrings, and you pair it with the ring, and you pair it with rested, and you pair it with food, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now when you play your other classes, if you're doing all the things that Square Enix asks of you, you're sitting at 253% experience. It's not going to break the game, you're still going to experience it, but it is going to speed it up quite a bit for you.
My personal, I guess, opinion on it is that while that I think is probably the most fair, and I think the majority of the community could definitely get behind that idea, I still would love to have that XP pooled and then be able to kind of cash out for any job. And the reason is that myself as a personal player plays all the jobs. Somebody who doesn't, somebody who plays one job or two.
And you're trying to level them all right now.
I am, and so that benefits me.
There's about 1 million comments that come in that say, hey, Brian, you're being lazy on the guys.
It's like, hey, where's my...
Why have you not leveled up all the classes in 2 weeks?
I'm playing a ton, and my wife can attest to the fact of that. So
he hasn't done a dish since patch 3.
Not true. I also take care of my family and the household chores. I don't really do dishes, though, in my family. Like, if that is, like, where, like, Brian's a liar, it's like, no. I do the trash, and I do, there's a couple, like, we did definitely, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I'm with that. Like, the fact is that why I don't need a queue, I'm not going to queue on my leveling roulette as a tank ever again. Oh, we're incentivizing it with this cluster. Cool.
And so now it'll be my turn to tank, now that he's finished his last tank.
Somebody even said that on
it'll be my turn to tank, and somebody noticed that I was tanking. But that only lasts so long. I mean, we've got a while because I haven't ever really played tank.
You have plenty of tanks.
I'm like 30, and 28 or something. But theoretically, it is a finite number of levels. So theoretically, there is some number of dungeons we can run together. And if we start really being disciplined and we run 2 a day together, there is a date in the future
That you're going to be in the same boat as me, buddy. Same boat.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it takes 2 years for us to both cap. And once we both have capped, the next expansion will be like, well, I guess we can only do leveling roulette for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Before one of us is just wasting time.
Well, wasting time and being burnt out. But no, I do like the idea
2 DPS,
of the bonus, but at the same time, like, as somebody who plans to level all of them, I wish that it's like, okay, you need X. Okay, I'll do X and then do this. This kind of almost ties into a little bit of the feedback regarding at least our frustration with the queues, allowing me to queue in as multiple jobs for that content. Things like frontlines allow you to change. Okay. So if you're like, I'm going in as a white mage, and then all of a sudden you get in, you're like, oh, everybody here's a healer, I'm going to drop and I'm going to change. Now I'm having to make a choice to sacrifice my leveling experience for that. And at the root of it, yeah, taking XP away from that option would hurt, and I would hate it. And I'm not advocating for that at all, but that in itself solves the problem with PvP specifically.
So what if every time you ran a dungeon on level 70 that was sub-level 70, so every time you or just synced, what if every time you ran a content synced?
Yeah.
Square Enix loves their currencies.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not have 2 million different currencies that are all good for different things?
Yeah.
So why is there not a currency, and that currency is used for purchasing leveling gear that scales to whoever equips it?
That'd be cool.
So you can start to build out this leveling set, and you do it by running things synced.
Not a bad idea. None of these are bad ideas.
That would be nice and confusing. It would be something that people are like, I have to keep track of one more thing.
One more gear set.
It says I just got 17 what points?
I don't. At the end of the day, I don't see them making this change because the concern is that you got everybody to 70 and you only played one job. That is the trade-off. That is the negative. And absolutely, that would happen because at some point...
And if they get a really great class to play in PvP, like White Mage, it helps keep everybody from gravitating to it. Because now only the people who really want to play it will play it, because everybody else is going to go to something you can get experience.
Exactly. So it's not ideal, but there is no ideal solution in this case. I think the best solution is still some kind of scroll or some kind of experience buff that you can apply to another job that's equal to the amount of that you would get. So this is a scroll. It's worth 800,000 additional experience.
It's worth half of one session in PvP.
I don't know. I guess, and this is going to be another bag of worms, another can of worms. But I would honestly like to see something more.
His worms in bags. I know we all collect worms. Can you believe this guy has his in bags?
Oh man, yeah. It's like like it's gonna become a meme now. Anyway, now I would say like another can of worms would be that I would like to see something more akin to the Paragon or what Final Fantasy XI had was the merit system. Is that once you do hit cap, that experience can be used to augment your character in some way, and it doesn't have to be 100% battle related,
like a free company buff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so that where you can kind of queue up these little things that you can turn.
My teleports start getting cheaper and cheaper.
Teleports start getting cheaper and cheaper. Like little things that just make.
Let's remove all the gold sinks.
Yeah, why not? Well, yeah, man. If teleports were gone, like it'd be horrible.
They've gotten expensive. But thank you, Glacian. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next comment.
Sounds great.
Vic Vega says, it's my understanding that Square Enix took out 4-mans to stop win trading, so they may not bring it back until they have that aspect fixed. I think there should be both team and character registration in ranked PvP as well as rank decay. So even if you had 3 alts on the same server, you could only do ranked with the tune you registered for, ranked, and then only with the team you registered to minimize win trading. They could then have a match cap, so the same team plays each other more than, say, once or twice a day. No points would be earned by either side. That should discourage it some. But you should also lose if you don't play at least 1 match a week. 4-man should come back. They just need a way to stop people from abusing the system.
So this is interesting, and I was really happy to kind of see that concept of win trading, because I think you made a point that win trading is solved by more people in the pool. Like if there are
even if I queue at the same time, we don't always get each other.
Right, and so there's no guarantee that, okay, we're going to constantly, roll you. But I like some of the ideas they have here. We've talked about it. Rank decay is a must. It needs to force people that once they hit a certain tier, they need to stay battling. Otherwise, they're going to rank down, and people are going to easily surpass them. Four-mans have to make a comeback. The fact that they aren't there is hugely disappointing, and we've talked about that at length. But the concept that it's like if you fight the same team over and over again, that it's discouraged. Well, I mean, one way they could fix that without even doing that is just, we fought the same team twice. Let's find another team. Like, why do we have to keep getting matched with the same player base? And I'm wondering if that has to do with what they're trying to do with ranking in the first place, where you have no rank, bronze, silver, gold, and where they're trying to find gold players to fight gold players. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
If you have 10 people playing a game together, there's no reason to track MMR.
Right.
Because the moment you start tracking that, it's like, we already only have 10. Let's just get them into games and understand that there's going to be a skill gap between the top guy and the bottom guy. I think that it's neat when you talk about like how you kind of register as a team, you register as an individual character, and I think that it works a lot like Palace of the Dead.
Yeah.
You have, 1 to 3 solo slots, you have kind of 1 to 3, 2 slots, 4 slots, and 8 slots, and that's it. And so you can queue as like a random in any of those, or I don't know, it's something to kind of restrict people so that you're keeping track of less MMRs. It's really hard. They don't even seem to have the whole battle system quite to the point that they're totally happy with. Like this week, they came out with 4.06A.
Yeah.
And looked like across the board, everybody got more health. So it felt like a buff. But then there was also a lot of potency reductions and stuff in classes that had just been gutting people. Mm-hmm. And as a healer, I felt like, oh, wow, it's way more balanced because now everybody can die before I can heal them.
Exactly. A little bit better survivability across the board.
I'm sure it felt like a nerf to people who didn't notice the health increase and felt like they just got their DPS gutted.
Like, why aren't they going down?
They're not as bursty.
The nice thing that I saw about that with 4.06, and just kind of as a sidebar, is that they're not afraid to make PvP changes mid-season. While that,
mid-patch cycle.
Right.
Not even like, 4.1 fell mid-season, so let's just do it. No. 4.06A. Like, it's a Tuesday. We might as well just jack with things.
Well, I think that's probably been in the works, and they kind of teased that, obviously, over the couple of weeks. But
they did.
I just am frustrated, and so just for the fact that we don't have those things, we need those things. We need a better way that maybe even tracking MMR across multiple, forms of PvP. Tracking better stats across multiple forms of PvP. If no one wants to four-man, fix it. Like, okay, if it's just a matter of that, well, why can't we as a group play together? We just want to play the game together.
Yes.
And from Feast, from a Feast perspective, right now you only have you're more than 2 people. Frontlines is the only option, and you're jumping from a 4 versus 4 or an 8 versus 8 to a 72 player kind of base, and so it's a whole different game type. So you can't even begin to practice.
And I think these are the louder complaints, not balance. So when you have people who say, "I like your game just how it is. Will you let me play it?" and you're a gaming company, why is the answer anything but yes? So I think that they've got to do something. I understand that you're saying, oh, well, these people were cheating, so now nobody can do it. But the rewards for winning a season for cheating aren't that great.
Right.
There's a lot of cool glamour out there, so even glamour gear, not that great. It's not like they're getting prestigious houses given to them or anything. Like, they're not getting free subs. They're not getting
Yoshi P's coming to their house and having pizza with them.
They're not getting the coolest mount of all time, and everybody else is stuck on a basic non-colored chocobo.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. So it's kind of like playing like a free-to-play game on your phone, and people cheat and they get up to the top, and like your score is 386, and the highest score is like 1100, and then there's like 5 guys that are like 9 billion. It's like, I don't care about those 5 people.
Yeah.
But don't take away the game for all of us.
The other challenge, though, is that in the game mode right now, you can't communicate with your party members. And so you're matched randomly. And so you can't say, okay, let's change strategy. You do have some tools with light communication. And so that is one of the reasons why they don't want you to go like with a 4-man versus just a pickup group, or match you a 4-man versus 3-man and then one, etc. Because no matter what, the people who are able to communicate in real time are going to have a severe advantage over the group that is not organized and they haven't been playing together. And so there is a part of me, honestly, that wishes that they would just let you queue as 1 or 4 or 3 or 2 and just find me a game. And if we win, then we can rank up and our MMR goes up. If we lose, no big deal.
And if you want secondary systems that kick in so that like during prime hours, it's like we got 1,000 people queuing in a 5-minute window. We have secondary systems that further balance it. So then tell us that that's what's happening, so that I know that, like, you know what, when Brian and I queue for 4s as a pair, we get our butts kicked when we play it Tuesday morning at 2 a.m. because we're getting tossed in with pre-mades.
Right.
But if we play Friday night at 6 p.m., we're getting tossed with another pair against a team that's 2 pairs.
Two pairs, etc.
And it feels better.
Yeah. One of the things, and to kind of take it outside of the world of Final Fantasy, and that I'm keeping a close eye on, is that in Destiny 2, they've kind of got 2 pathways. They've got quick play, and they've got competitive. And quick play, they're focusing in on just getting people into a match. Just, you're not a pre-made or whatever. It's all focusing on, ping speed and then finding a match quickly. And they recognize and they say, there could be a huge skill gap. There could. So I'm going in.
And there's going to be people who just feel like winning and they know they're good, so they're going to go sit in there and just win over and over.
Exactly. And that's actually me. I did really good last night. But then on the same time, they have the competitive playlist, and that competitive playlist is focused in on that MMR, that really trying to find that close, tight match that you're going to go in and you're going to have the best level of competition possible. And we'll have to wait and see how that works. Is that successful? And I hope it is, because it sounds like, okay, as long as you know what you're going into, then there really shouldn't be any surprises if you win or if you get completely destroyed. But I don't have a perfect solution, and that's, I think, the thing that frustrates me about this is that I wish that I could sit here and say, do this, do this, do this. We've got some, suggestions that we've made and that Vic made here as well. I like most of those ideas. I like, I would love to see them make some changes, and I'd love to see them actually come back and communicate to us and tell us what they're thinking and when they think that they might do it. Because is it 4.1? Is it 4.2? Do we, hopefully not have to wait till 5.0.
Yeah, no, it's 6.3.
6.3. Day and date. You heard it here first.
So, very cool. Well, PvP is kind of a big subject that both of us have very strong opinions on right now because the game's hitting on all cylinders everywhere else. Every time I feel like something should be a certain way, it either already is that way or it's something even better. Yeah. So there's so much of the game that I feel is something either I don't know enough about it, so I'm not ready to bash on it, because my experience so far is that everything when I get to know it is like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, that's great. Well so done. PvP is something that I kind of feels like a thorn in my side. So we're actually going to have to break this into 2 community feedbacks, because we've had a lot of videos on PvP lately, and we're mostly focused on the feedback to this one, but there's a lot on our mind. Yeah. So I think that's it for today.
Stick around for part 2.
This has been Chris.
And Brian.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. YouTube has a pretty cool video waiting for you over here. Our latest vlog is down below. For those of you new, subscribe is over here, and all of our other contact info is just right below me here. Thanks for watching.